Hey guys, welcome to Pilates with Danny. Thank you so much for joining me. I am coming to you today from the traditional unceded territories of the Kwagil First Nations in North Vancouver Island. Today's workout, we're going to do some lower body exercises, so I'm really excited to work with you. You're going to want to have your loop band and your yoga block handy. And additionally, if you want, you can have your dumbbells and your flat band as well. It's totally up to you to do what you'd like to do. So we're going to start with some warming up for our hips and our legs. So we're going to start by placing our feet a little more than shoulder width apart. I'm going to angle my toes out. From here, I'm going to try to reach my hands to the ground. Now, if you need to, you can bend at the knees a little bit so you can reach. And we're just going to bend it down, bringing our thighs to the outsides of our arms, coming back up nice and slow. And just feel free to heel toe your feet a little bit. Just find that perfect positioning that feels good for you. Try to keep your hands actively pressed into the floor as you do this. Nice, slow, deep breath in. Exhale up. Inhale in. Exhale up. Think about starting to activate through the pelvic floor, squeezing everything up and inwards. Taking all of the pelvic openings, drawing them shut. Another way to think about this, imagine you really have to pee. There's no bathroom around. You got to suck it up and inwards. Or imagine you've got a very big, poorly timed air bubble coming. You got to squeeze and pull that up and inwards. Good. One more here. And come up. From here, we're going to walk our legs open. We're going to come over to one side. So we're going to try to keep our heel flat to the floor here. If you need to, you can take your arm, place it underneath just to splint yourself and give yourself some added stability. And see if you can keep this knee to the outside of the shoulders. Obviously, don't force your range of motion. Take it easy. Be patient with your body. Activate through the quad here to draw that kneecap up towards you. And if this feels okay for you, we're going to rotate our toes forward and up. Forward and up. Forward and up. Good. Keep drawing that pelvic floor up and in. Loosening up those hips. One more. Switching sides. Nice and slow here. Let that heel sink down to the floor if that's okay for you. And again, we're going to rotate through the hip. Good. Draw the belly button to the spine. Close the pelvic floor. So again, all those pelvic openings, drawing them up and inwards. Rotating through the feet. Great work. Awesome. From here, we're going to come back. This time we're going to have a seat, so you can just bring your hand behind you. Slowly lower yourself to the ground. So I'm going to have my hip to the outside, or sorry, my leg to the outside of my arm here. I'm just going to bring my knee forward and up to the sky. Forward, up to the sky. So think every time you're doing this, you want to activate through the glute to actively pull that leg back up. We're lengthening through the spine here, drawing the belly button inwards. Tuck the ribs. Good. Other side here. Shifting it over. We bring it down and up. And I'm keeping my sternum more or less facing the front. I do allow for a little bit of movement here, but I'm trying my best to isolate through the hips. Of course, don't force any movement. Consider shrinking the range of motion. If you're super tight, and maybe this is all you have, if that's all you've got in you, that's okay. Listen to your body. Don't force it. It's not worth it. Don't hurt yourself. Keep squeezing that pelvic floor up and inwards. Good. Last one. Awesome work. So from here, let's warm up our hamstrings a little bit. Pardon me while I brush some of the sand off of my yoga mat. What a wonderful problem to have, right? Poor me. We're going to take our loop band. We're going to place it around our ankles. We're going to come face down onto our mat. And I'm just going to move my mic over here so that you can still hear me. Here we go. So We are going to go forehead to the ground. I'm going to activate through my legs to pull my kneecaps off the mat here. And I'm going to draw the belly button to the spine. With my pelvis, I want you to think about curling it forward. So if you see my belly for a sec, naturally I'm here. I want to draw the belly up, curl my pelvis down towards the ground. Do you see how I'm creating a little bit of space here? This is important because what's happening is I'm squeezing through the lower belly to activate all these muscles and protect my lower back. Just pull my sweater down here. It's a beautiful fall day on the North Island. So forehead to the ground here. We're going to start by lifting and floating our legs off the mat, holding it here. Curl that pelvis forward, engage the pelvic floor. And we're going to pulse our feet open, 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 open. Good work. Keep squeezing the belly. Keeping everything strong. Engage through that pelvic floor. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the toes back to the ground here. We're going to lift one leg up to the sky, down to the ground. Exhale up, inhale down. Keeping both kneecaps off the ground. Try to avoid feeling this in the lower back. If you do feel it in the lower back, you have to squeeze more through the glutes. Think you're lifting the back of the knee pit to the ceiling. This is going to help you keep a nice straight leg. And again, that pelvic tilt towards the ground is really crucial to keeping the lower belly engaged. 3 more. 2. And 1. Other side. Up we go. Good work. Exhale up. Inhale down. Draw that pelvic floor up and inwards. Think you want to draw your ribs in towards your spine. So rather than flaring them open and pressing them into the ground, you want to curl them up and in. Keep pulling that belly button up and inwards as well. Keep the knees off the ground. Pelvic floor is engaged for 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful work. So from here, you can take a sec. You can release everything, roll it out. Maybe things are starting to feel a little intense. Maybe they aren't. We're going to take our band. We're going to place it over one foot. Here we go. So just over the arch of the foot. That's going to be my anchored leg. Okay. My working leg, I'm going to keep the band around my ankle. I'm going to float my working leg's thigh off the ground if I can. Regardless, try to keep both of your kneecaps off the ground so both your thigh muscles are activated. Again, curl that pelvis towards the ground. Tuck the belly button up and inwards. Tuck the ribs. Engage pelvic floor. Deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to bend. Draw that heel as close to the glute as you can get it. Inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. And now I'm trying to keep this working thigh floating just above the mat. Again, that pelvic tilt forwards is so important to keeping the lower belly engaged so that you don't feel this pinch too much in the lower back. Keeping it going. Good. 7, 8, 9. Keep the knees off the ground. And 10. Good. Switch your band over the foot and around the ankle. Here we go. Thighs are off the ground here. Exhale for 1. Inhale for 2. 3, 4. Engage your pelvic floor. Squeeze everything up. Pelvis stays tilted forward. Kneecaps are off the ground. 8, 9, and 10. Beautiful work. And release. From here, come on up. Let's switch it up a little bit. Come up to stand if you need to. Go for a little child's pose. You can even curl into a little ball if that feels good. We do accumulate some tension in that lower back regardless of how good our form is, so never a bad idea to pause and stretch it out. From here, my personal favorite, more like the bane of the existence of all my wonderful Pilates clients that come to my in-person classes. We're going to take our yoga block. We're going to place it between our knees. And I'm going to show you this from a couple of angles here. We're going to be sitting down as if we're sitting in a little chair, okay? I'm actively squeezing my legs together. My feet are going to be in line with my knees and my hips. So what we don't want is to be here, everything nice close stance, okay? From the side, I'm sitting down and back as low as I can get myself. Now, again, with this position, I tend to push my ribs forward. Don't mind me, I'm looking at a beautiful bald eagle. That's just, wow, flying overhead. What a privilege. Tuck those ribs, draw the belly button to the spine, engage pelvic floor up and inwards. With your hands, you can have them in front, up here, or out to the side for balance. This one might honestly be nice. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up onto our tiptoes, down to the ground. Up on the tiptoes, down to the ground. So exhale as you work, come up, inhale back down. Now notice as I do this, my upper body is not moving, okay? It's just this sort of rocking forward movement in my legs. Find your center of balance. Look towards something with your eyes to focus your gaze, keeping your balance. Think you want to pull your thighs close together, so activating through the inner thighs here. Keep it going. I'm just going to pivot this way so you can see, again, my knees, hips, and ankles are in line. And we're trying to, losing balance, trying to rock it forward. We've done too many of these in the last couple days, that's for sure. Up and down. Find your balance. Come up and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Take a sec. Shake it out. Whew. That feels great. We love it. We never skip leg day. We're going to come back to that again. We're going to place our block in between the knees. This time, same position. So coming down, you can have your hands whichever which way. If your hands are in front, you may notice this tends to pull you a little bit forward. So if that's what's happening for you, or if you're getting tired, maybe consider having your hands out to the side or up by your ears. I'm going to come down again, tuck those ribs, draw the belly button in, engage pelvic floor. I'm going to come up here onto my tiptoes. And from here, I'm going to sweep my bum side to side, 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 side. So imagine you've got a paintbrush attached to your bum and you want to sweep all the walls behind you and to the side. Get deep in the corners of the room, staying as high on the tippy toes as possible, keeping those ribs drawn inwards. Belly button drawn to the spine. Pelvic floor is engaged. Keeping it going. Good work. Ay caramba, the burn. Good, and back to center. Lift higher on the tiptoes for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on down. Good stuff. From here, let's come back into some hamstring work. This time, we're going to come onto all fours for our tabletop position. This is a really good glute and hamstring exercise. So we're going to sit onto our block to place it. You want to have it directly beneath your bum cheek. In my tabletop position, wrists are directly beneath the shoulders, knees directly beneath the hips. With my midsection, what I tend to want to do is push the ribs down. I want you to think, draw the ribs upwards, draw the belly button in, engage pelvic floor, curl just a little bit through that pelvis. Back stays nice and flat. I'm going to keep that heel squished in nice and tight to keep that block drawn in. I'm going to exhale as I lift, inhale as I come down. Keeping it going. Keep that belly button drawn up and inwards. And think with this grounded hip here, you want to keep it so that it's always over top of the knee. So what you want to avoid doing is, if you see me from the back, you keep going. What I don't want to be doing is shifting my hips to the side. My hips are square with the floor in front of me. Nice and strong, lifting up to the ceiling, down to the ground. Nice strong squeeze through the hamstrings as well as the booty, drawing that belly button up to the sky, keeping those ribs drawn in, keeping it going for 2 more. Last one. Great work. Other side. Here we go. Draw that belly button to the spine. Keep the ribs tucked. Good. Exhale up. Inhale down. Find your own rhythm with your breathing. There's no rush. Remember, you are in competition with no one. You are doing this to help yourself stay strong and active and healthy. Keep squeezing that pelvic floor up and inwards. Pulling that belly button to the spine. Keeping those ribs tucked inwards so you're not pushing your ribs or your belly towards the floor every time you lift, but rather keeping a nice flat back. Last one. Great work. Drop the block. Come on up. We're going to come down here into a nice low plie squat. So my feet are going to be at a 45-degree angle away from me, and they're going to be a little wider than hip width apart. From here, I'm going to come down and up, down and up. Inhale down, exhale up. And if you like, you can hold your dumbbells here in your hands to add a little bit of weight. It's up to you. And think you're actively squeezing through the glute here to draw your thighs open. Good. On this next one, we're going to come down. We're going to hold it here and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up, down, pulse. 2, 3. Good. And up. Good. Draw the belly button to the spine. Keep those ribs tucked. Engage the pelvic floor. Great. Come up. From here, we're going to come down, lift onto both tiptoes, and come back. Walk my feet in just a little bit here. Come down, up, down, up, down, up. Good. Keep squeezing through that pelvic floor, keeping those ribs drawn in, nice and strong, drawing the belly button into the spine. Great work. It's a beautiful day to be alive, a beautiful day to be tortured. We love it. Good. Here we're going to come down, lift one ankle, other ankle. Hop, hop. Good. Keep squeezing. Keep the chest lifted, ribs drawn in, pelvic floor is engaged. And 3, 2. Great work. 1. Oh, ouch, 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 ouch. That feels amazing. Don't we love that so much? Awesome. We're going to finish off with some lunges. So you can use your flat band if you like here, or you can go without. We're going to place our foot in the center. We're going to step one foot back, and you want to make sure for your lunges that you have your feet hip width apart. So you don't want to be super narrow or super wide. Hip width apart. And now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go for a super wide stance. I'm going to think I want to scissor my hips together. So this front leg, I want to think I'm pulling that front hip back and this back hip forward. So we're not twisting the hips to the side, but rather drawing them together so hips stay square with the wall in front. I'm going to squeeze the belly, tuck the ribs in. I'm going to actually hinge at the hips ever so slightly. We wouldn't do this if we were holding heavy weights at the gym, of course, but hinge at the hips ever so slightly so I can lean forward just a little bit with my body. And I'm going to come down and up, down and up. Good. Inhale down, exhale up. So again, imagine you're scissoring those hips together, actively drawing that front leg back and that back leg forward. Sitting back into that front hip. So think you're really pushing that hip back, trying to keep the weight out of the back thigh and rather loading it into that front leg. You might want to feel it in the glute, the hamstring, the quad. Good. Keeping it going for 3, 2, and 1. We're going to come down here. Release your band if you were holding it. You can place your hands up by your head or by your chest, whatever feels good. If you're feeling this in this back leg, try to lean a little bit more forward. And again, tuck those ribs, squeeze the belly. We're going to lift and tap our heel. Front heel comes up and down, up and down. Good. Keeping it going. You might feel this in the booty. Great work. 3, 2, and 1. Great work. Other side. Here we go. So I'll do this one facing you so you can see a different angle. So feet stay hip width apart. Again, we're going to come down and up, down and up. Inhale down, exhale up. Great work. Keep scissoring those hips, pulling that front hip back. Keep drawing those ribs in. Engage that pelvic floor, squeeze everything closed, pulling it up and inwards. Imagine you have a really big air bubble on the way. Don't let it out. Squeeze. Good. Whoop, losing balance. That's what I get for joking around. Last one. And up. We're going to come down. Sit it nice and low here. Lift and tap that front heel. Lift, 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 lift. Great work. Hips are scissored. Legs are hip width apart. Keep drawing that pelvic floor up and inwards for 3, 2, and 1. Right on, everyone. Thank you so much. Great work today. So let's do a real quick cool down because it looks like the tide is moving in and she is going to swallow up my setup. Let's have a seat. We're going to actually lay on our back here. If you need to use your band or a strap, that's absolutely fine to grab your leg, or else just let go. We're going to straighten one leg out. And even in this position, I want you to pull that belly button to the ground, engage that pelvic floor. Grabbing onto your leg, you're going to slowly try to pull it a little bit towards you. Beautiful work. And switch. And naturally, I'm going to encourage you to hold these stretches a little bit longer. So please feel free to pause the video or even just throw on some really nice music after and just do a few more of the stretches. I have to cut this one a little short because, again, the tide is moving in. And it's time for this girl to move it. Good. Doing the stretch here, make sure you keep that bottom leg still facing upwards. Perfect. Switching back. Draw the knee to the chest. Pull it across your body here. Try to touch that knee to the ground behind you. If you need, you can place a yoga block under that knee if you're not quite there yet. Try to keep this back shoulder pressed to the floor. Look over, behind. Good. And release. Other side. Draw the knee to the chest. Pull it across. Feel free to close your eyes here. Slow, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Great work. From here, back to center. We're going to grab onto both our feet. See if you can open your legs. Try to keep the lower back flat to the ground so you can grab whatever part of the legs is good for you. Try to keep the lower back still pressed into the floor, so don't let it curl upwards. Keep it down and then draw the legs to the floor. Point and flex through the feet. Whatever feels good. Bringing the legs together. Again, keep that lower back nice and flat to the ground. Point and flex the feet. And come on up to sit. Beautiful work. Finishing off with our hips here. Place one foot forward. Flatten out that back leg. Twist and look up behind you. If this feels okay for you, you're going to grab onto that ankle. Press that hip a little bit deeper. Great. And release. Straighten out that leg. Think you want to draw this heel back towards your hip. Nice flat back here, hinge at the hips, folding over. Try to flatten out your back as much as possible. I'm incredibly tight through my hamstrings, so I have a very difficult time being a good example of this. But that is what you want to go for. Step your other foot forward, so knee over ankle, twist, look out towards this beautiful ocean and the mainland mountains of British Columbia behind me. And all these beautiful islands that were the sacred territories and burial grounds for the Quagil First Nation. What a privilege to get to share this with you today. Push that hip a little deeper here. Nice slow, deep breaths. Listen to that beautiful tide. From here, straighten out that leg. Nice flat back, fold over. And draw that heel back towards you. Keep that pelvic floor engaged. I'm going to strongly recommend you do a few more stretches. So if you do any yoga or if you have any other good flexibility things that you like to do, by all means, make sure to include a pigeon stretch or two, some more hip mobility, or check out another one of my videos for some good flexibility and mobility work to release all the work that we've done. I would be happy to do it with you right now, but unfortunately, Mother Nature has other plans. As always, thank you so much for joining me.